Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to the Marvel United Multiverse Kickstarter stretch goal box. This is part 2. We are still going over the villains. So part 1 we went over, I think, 9 villains in that one. Here we're going to try and knock out a few more, and then there'll be a third part with some more villains. There are just a lot of villains, although there's a lot of anti-heroes in this one in this set. There's a lot more in part 3. There'll be a lot of anti-heroes versus just villains. But we're just looking at the villain halves in these videos, and then we'll look at the hero halves when we get to the hero sides of them. So let's jump right in. So we're going to start with... We're going to scooch our camera back down. We're going to start with some Hulk villains. We have good old Emil Blonsky? Hope I said that right. The Abomination. It's kind of weird, because like, that's what I love about this set, this third year, is that they had some characters just like, because the first year had, you know, good Marvel villains, but they're kind of all scattered out, but it's like, oh, we were missing some like classic villains, like Hulk villains and Iron Man villains, so nice for getting some of those guys. Alright, so Abomination here has special rules. Abomination is under pressure and vulnerable to damage from the start of the game. When any mission is completed, each hero draws a card. When a hero is KO'd, Abomination doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, accelerate the next villain turn by 1. He has, 10, 12, and 13 health. So he's a beast. BAM, deal 2 damage to one hero in Abomination's location. Discard all thugs and civilians from his location. If overflow location is added, discard all thugs and civilians from that location. Interesting. So, he's not, in general, it seems like he doesn't have really anything too terrible going. He's just going to run around and try and beat you, but he's going to keep removing all of the thugs and civilians. You're going to make it harder to complete those. Luckily, you don't have to beat him. But yeah, if he KOs, he's going to keep accelerating his mission. So he's just going to either try and accelerate his mission to the end or defeat everybody. Nice. So not too bad. But yeah, you want to do some damage to him right away. So let's take a look at his deck and his miniature. We're going to scooch back down a little bit more. So here is his good old miniature here. Nice big old rage with the fists in the air. So yeah, imbued with gamma radiation, much like the Hulk, but he kept his mind. So he's got his military training and know-how and everything. Alright, what does his deck look like? So we're going to start with his threats. So he's going to have superhuman durability, and he's going to have 2 copies of that. So as long as his threat is in play, damage dealt by Abomination is unpreventable. Ooh. Yeah, so he's going to really hurt you there. He's got... I did 2 copies of... Oh, no, he has 1 copy of that. His superhuman durability. As long as his threat is in play, heroes can't deal more than 2 damage to Abomination each turn. So he's going to be able to hurt you very easily. He's going to be able to damage you. Healing factor. As long as this threat is in play, Abomination recovers 2 health at the end of each healing turn. So even though you can hurt him right off the bat, he's gonna take less damage, and he's gonna recover health. Suspended animation. As long as this threat is in play, Abomination can't go below 1 health unless all heroes in his location when they deal damage to him. Expert strategist. As long as this threat is in play, heroes can't use the end of turn effects of the location Abomination is currently in. And finally, he has toxic gamma rays. As long as this threat is in play, heroes end their turn in Abomination's location must turn one of their heroes face down. Okay, cool. So actually, those really make him a more interesting threat, because it's not just like, oh, you have to beat him just for the sake of beating him, because you can attack him right away. But yeah, you have to deal with that if you don't get rid of some of these. But what do you get rid of first? Do you get rid of the healing one first? Do you get rid of the, the 2 damage ones? You get rid of the 2 damage, you can still ping him. Each guy can ping him for 1 or 2 damage. You just eventually heal 2. But if you don't get rid of that 2 healing, then it doesn't matter. If you hit him with a 5 attack or something, and then all of a sudden he heals back 2 of it, and then you only get a 3. But yeah, maybe unpreventable might make more difference, or losing cards. So very interesting on what order you want to try and get rid of them. Alright, then he has Stronger Than You. It looks like he's got 2 copies that go counterclockwise to the next location with the hero with the most cards in their hand. Move Abomination to the opposite location. Then deal 1 damage to each hero here. So he moves counterclockwise to the location of his hero, and then he moves to the opposite location. Interesting. Then he has 2 of them where he goes the other direction. Then he has 1 gamma radiation generator. Move clockwise to the location with no heroes. Bring back 1 random cleared threat into play in the next clockwise location without threats. Each hero in both locations adjacent to Abomination must turn their last hero card face down. Oh, see, that sucks because you have some guys that really interact with their things, whether it's a team ability or if it's a healing factor. So, yeah, some of these are really going to suck for that. And that goes clockwise the other direction. And he's got 2 copies of Superhuman Uppercut clockwise to the next location with any heroes. Move the hero who has just damaged 2 locations away from Abominations. And he has 2 that go the other direction. And then his last 2 are Hiding Underwater. He moves 3 spaces. Until the next villain turn, during each hero's turn, Abomination can't be damaged unless the hero first spends a move in his location. Alright, so for being a very simplistic character, not having like any like extra gimmicks or anything like tokens or things like that, he's actually going to be pretty formidable to fight against. Alright, so we need another Hulk villain to go up against. And who better than the Red Hulk? Which, if you were part of comic books back in the day, big question was always, who is the Red Hulk? So special set, place the Betty Ross token into hero's starting location. So we get the little Betty Ross token there. Keeps track of that. And who is the Red Hulk? It's really not a spoiler anymore. It is General Thunderbolt Ross became the Red Hulk. The Hulk's main arch nemesis. So he has 7, 8, and 9 health. Special rule. At the beginning of each villain turn, move the Betty Ross token clockwise as many locations equal to the number of move symbols at the bottom of the hero cards in the storyline between the previous villain card and the current one. When the hero's KO, Red Hulk doesn't activate his BAM, instead increases revenge track by 1. Okay, discard all thugs and civilians from Red Hulk's location, and then deal 2 damage to each hero there. If Betty Ross is there, deal only 1 damage instead. And Overflow, if they can't be added, increase revenge track by 1 and move Betty Ross's location clockwise by 1. Revenge track heroes, but it gets up to 6. So it's gonna go up if you ever Overflow or if you KO somebody. So those are the 2 big ways to watch out for. I'm sure it's going to go up other ways. But let's take a look at his miniatures. Now, he is an anti-hero. Whoops. And we just threw him off the thing. So he is purple. There are people in the Kickstarter campaign, they're like, they still should have clad him in red, even though he was an anti-hero. But I think that would have been confusing to some people. So we will get a hero version of him in one of the later videos. But yeah, he's just raging. Now, if it wasn't for the mustache, you would just assume this is probably Hulk. So until he gets painted, I think it'll look definitely cool. I know one of his other abilities is he can generate heat, which is pretty cool. Like as he rages up, he gets more heat. So he has 6 copies of Looking for Trouble. So if there are no heroes in this location, Red Hulk moves clockwise to the next location with any heroes. So yeah, he's just gonna jump around the board looking for heroes to pummel. Kind of like Abomination. Of course, it's a Hulk villain, right? They should be doing is just lots lots of strong arm stuff. So we got 2 copies of move clockwise to the next location with the hero with the most cards in hand, and then bam. And then we got one that goes 2 copies of moving counterclockwise to the location with the hero with the most cards in her hand. And he has some simple ones. He moves 0, a 1, and a 2, a 3, sorry, that's a 4, a 5, and then he has some special abilities. He has absorbing energy. Each hero, Red Hulk, and both adjacent locations must discard 1 card of the special effect from their hand. If possible, Red Hulk gains health equal to the number of cards discarded this way, may go above starting value. And then he has 2 copies of Red Rage. Accelerate the next villain card by 1 turn. Alright, so yeah, fairly, again, kind of simple. You still got, unlike Abomination, you have to wear down his stuff to be able to take him out. Wear down all his different different missions, so then you can start damaging him. So he's not damageable right away. So he's just be kind of running around trying to do it. I didn't know really what the whole point of the Betty Ross token was, though. I mean, the only thing they even mention with it is, I thought there was going to be more to it with that. It says, deal 2 damage to each hero there. If Betty Ross is there, deal only 1 damage instead. So it's basically like she kind of calms him down. So that, but you know, it's like that's your whole thing, is you just try and, after she moves, you just try and be in her location. So that way, he doesn't do extra damage to you. That's the only purpose of her. Just seemed like there should have been more for you to bother to have a token on the board. It's such a minor effect, an extra thing you have to keep constantly moving her around the board. For nothing else to be there. I thought he should have a card or something that said, you know, oh, if he's in Betty Ross's location and there are no heroes, like he wins or something, you know. I don't know, who knows. Alright, let's hop into our next kind of Hulk villain, kind of everyone's villain. Absorbing Man, Crusher Creel. Who always has that really fun power. He can touch things, he can absorb their properties as like stone, or he has iron from exchange. So the player must decide to add the special Titania challenge to the game by placing her threat card face down near the play area and reading it. So yeah, he gets a special threat card, or special challenge for Titania, which is really neat. We'll look at that in just a moment. Let's flip this over and see what he does for us. He has 5, 6, and 7 health. Special rule: when a hero is KO'd, Absorbing Man doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, remove the top Master Plan card from the game. Interesting. So he doesn't even add it to the thing. He just gets rid of it. And BAM, if there's a threat with a target symbol on it, Absorbing Man's location, resolve its BAM effect. If there is no such threat there, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in Absorbing Man's location instead. Cool, so he BAMs, he hits your location, resolves their BAMs as well. And then Overflow, if they can't be able to bring back 1 random cleared threat into play in the first location with all. And then starting from Absorbing Man's location, going clockwise, if not possible, 1 hero takes 1 damage anywhere. So if you only get rid of the threats, then they're going to start piling up on you. Interesting. Yeah, if you don't clear them, then they're just going to keep coming back. And doing either coming back, or they're going to keep doing damage to you. Alright, so we got his cool miniature. One of the interesting ones to paint too, where he's half brick. And then half wrecking ball. It's neat because he can absorb whatever he touches. Glass, concrete, steel. He's absorbed antimatter before, but he's also absorbed energy. Like, he's used it to, like, steal, like, the power cosmic and stuff like that before, which is always terrifying. But generally, it's the idea is he's too stupid in the terms of, like, he doesn't know how to use or do anything more than be a thug. Alright, so let's look at his threat cards. So his threats are going to be various elements. So we have Diamond. German's BAM is deal 2 damage to each hero in this location. While here, Absorbing Man can't be damaged. So he only does the BAMs when he's in those locations. Stone. Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. While here, Absorber Man ignores the first damage he would take to the villain's next turn. Glass. Accelerate the villain's next turn by 1. While he's here, once per hero turn, he takes 1 additional damage if he is damaged. This is made of glass. Makes sense. Water. Remove the top master plan card from the game. While Absorber Man is here, heroes in the must first forfeit 1 move in this location before damaging him. Steel. Deal 2 damage to 1 hero in this location. While here, Absorber Man ignores 1 damage each hero and villain turn. And Fire. Absorber Man spam deals 1 damage to each hero in this in both adjacent locations. While Absorber Man is here, heroes must use heroic to damage him instead of attack. So that's kind of neat. So he's gonna get a bonus on whatever location he's at. So it's kind of neat. So he's gonna constantly be changing how he operates based on where he is. So then what they have here is they have the Titania challenge. As soon as the first threat is cleared, move the threatened Absorber Man's location, if any, to the next clockwise location without a threat. Then this threat enters play face up in Absorber Man's location. So if you beat Glass, all of a sudden it's going to move and you can put her in instead as a henchman who has BAM, deal 2 damage to 1 hero in this location and 1 damage to 1 hero in each adjacent location. When his threat is cleared, remove it from the game. So like he can bring back threats, but you can't bring her back. And of course, if you're not familiar with her, they are basically a power couple. They're married, and they always do stuff together. So it's really cool they added her in as an extra little challenge. There's a lot of other villains that could have had neat things. Again, be kind of cool if they added, so you can add some other different villains and swap in and out with other characters. That would have definitely been cool. Alright, what does his regular deck do? He has a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 5. And then he has some special abilities. He has Millionaire Force. Move clockwise to the next location with any heroes. Deal 2 unpreventable damage to 1 hero in Absorber Man's location. He's got 2 copies of his Ball and Chain. Deal 1 damage to 1 hero in Absorber Man's and each adjacent location. Discard 1 civilian from each of these locations with no heroes. He's got Cosmic Force. Each hero takes 1 damage and remove the top card of their deck from the game. He's got a double move as 1 and BAM. Move Absorber Man clockwise to the next location with a threat with a target symbol, then BAM. And he's got another double move with a 2 movement. And some civilians, he has a 4 with some thugs and a 5 with some thugs. So yeah, interesting. He's just gonna get a move around the thing and constantly change. So you kind of gotta deal like lots of guys, and as soon as they become active, you can just be like, oh, I just have to do this or this to be able to take them out. He's gonna constantly be changing, so that's gonna make him a little bit more interesting to fight against. Awesome. Let's look at our next one. So our next one is Titania. So of course, we're gonna have Absorbing Man. We may as well have Titania as well. Who has the same special setup. Players may decide to add a special Absorbing Man challenge. So it's going to work the same way. Just be Absorbing Man instead. But what does her abilities do? 2, 4, and 4. So each time Titania is reduced to 0 health, she is not defeated. Instead, lay her down and add 1 crisis token to this dashboard. At the start of the next hero or villain turn, Titania is placed back upright and restored to full health. When a hero is KO'd during a villain's turn, Titania doesn't activate BAM. Instead, add 1 KO token to this dashboard. When a hero is KO'd during a hero turn, Titania doesn't activate BAM. Instead, accelerate the villain turn by 1 card. Interesting. So, if she's KO'd, she just comes back. If a hero is KO'd on the villain turn, a KO token goes on here. But if a hero is KO'd during the hero's turn for some reason, instead accelerates the villain's turn by 1. BAM. The hero in Titania's location takes 1 damage plus damage equal to the number of crisis tokens on this board. Oh, so every time you defeat her, she's going to do more damage to you. Overflow, if they can't add, deal 1 damage to 1 hero anywhere. So the villainous plot / heroic goal. When either Titania or a hero should play a card, but they have none, the usual game loss conditions don't apply. Instead, Compare the number of Crisis and KO tokens on the dashboard. If the number of Crisis tokens is higher, the heroes win. Otherwise, they lose. Oh, interesting. So basically, you want to KO her more times than she can KO you. And the only time you really have to worry about being KO'd is on her turn. If like you get KO'd on your turn, a hero's turn for some reason, it's still bad because it's going to accelerate and end the game quicker, but it's not going to be too bad. But she's also going to start dealing more damage the more you take her out. Interesting. And then the fact that she doesn't start back up to the beginning of the next turn. So if someone can like, oh, I can pull off 9 damage, right? Doesn't matter. Like, right, you KO her once. Like, you got her down to 1 health, and all of a sudden you can do 4 damage, right? In your 2-player game, right? You can hit once, KO her, the other 3 damage is going to be wasted. That's pretty cool. That's a very interesting way to play as her. I am also glad that they made these 2 separate characters versus just making them a dual team like we've had some of the other characters. Because, yeah, they're interesting enough on their own. I don't mind having dual characters. They want to make more dual decks. That's fine. Like team decks for characters. I just don't want like every character like that. Like some of them I think work better if they can play on their own. So there she is, wielding a big giant steel girder. Of course, if you watch the live action stuff, the MCU, you know, she fought She-Hulk. So she's kind of also a She-Hulk villain. Also part of the Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars. We're getting closer to having every single character to make up that storyline. I think right now the only person we are technically we're missing is her partner, her friend, who was... Well, I can't think of her name. She has a firepower. It's not coming to me, but we have her friend, and I think technically we don't have... if you want to argue, we don't have Janet Van Dyne, Wasp, we have Hope, and we don't technically have Rhodey, Iron Man. We have Iron Man, or we have War Machine. So it's like little minor things like that. So she has great resistance. She has 2 copies of this. As long as 1 or more great resistance to play, Titania ignores 1 damage during each hero turn. Oh, like she wasn't already hard enough to beat. And then her other 4 are double features. She lands on a spot during Titania's BAM has an additional effect. If possible, deal 1 damage to a different hero in your location. So you can take out more guys. Cool. And then we had the Absorbing Man Challenge, works the same way as hers. His. Defeat one, you put it back into place. As his says, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in this location for each with a double feature threat. Cool. So it might be up to 3 of them. Interesting. Alright, what are hers? She has a 0 movement with a BAM, a 1, a 2, and a 3. I think she has another 0, and a 4, a 3, and a 5. Then she has 4 more cards, which I do not like, just because I don't like the name of them. But we have the Hammer of Skirn. So we're going to look at that. We have a 1 with a 1, a 4, a 2, and a 5. It says move Titania's counterclockwise 1 location, then BAM. The only reason I don't like it is just because this is it's actually one of my favorite comic book events. It's Fear itself. Or a bunch of villains, and some heroes got hammers of, like Thor's hammer, but they're kind of evil. But the only reason I don't like this is because there's nothing else in any other character that indicates that they could be that. Again, this would have been cool, like an alternate card. Oh, I can play this character and this character as their Fear itself version. That would have been kind of cool, but just to have it randomly inserted in here is sort of weird. Alright, anywho, let's jump to our next one. So speaking of Thor, we have the Enchantress, Amora. I just said I realized I didn't say Titania's real name, because I don't remember it. Which is weird enough. I think her last name is McPhee, but I can't think of her first name. It's just not coming to me. Alright, Enchantress here. She has place the Scourge, the Executioner threat in the villain's starting location. Choose 9 henchmen threat cards belonging to other players. They must have a health value and no reference to a specific villain dashboard or components. Shuffle that to create the henchman deck. And place the top cards in 5 locations, no threat. Henchmen other than Scourge enter play with 1 health less than their starting value. So this is kind of neat. So this is cool and kind of annoying at the same time, because what it does is it allows her to use henchmen from every other character in the game. So the more sets you buy, the more different cards she can use. The problem is once you have them all sorted out in different boxes or whatever, then you have to go through and pull out this guy, pull out that guy, pull out that guy. And plus then you also have to look at which ones work. So like some of them may not work or not. But yeah, it's a really neat concept at least. But let's see how well she uses that ability. She has 2, 3, or 4 health. As long as Enchantress is in a location with a henchman, she can't be damaged. When a hero is KO'd, Enchantress doesn't activate her BAM. Instead, accelerate the next villain turn by 1 card. If Scourge is defeated, put him on top of the henchman deck. Otherwise, defeated henchmen are removed as usual. Henchmen other than Scourge enter the play with 1 less health than their starting value. BAM. If Enchantress is a location with no henchmen, move her clockwise to the next location with a henchman if possible. She's just using henchmen to protect her. That's kind of cool. Overflow outside the next villain turn by 1. Yeah, so that's her whole deal right here. Looks like you just have to try and defeat the henchmen so you can take her out. And they're all going to have different, probably different BAM effects and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. So let's take a look at her miniature here. Yeah, again, so that's the only downside. So you have to go through and find each one. So again, that would have been a neat add-on. I know it would have been, maybe it would have been hard for people to buy it, but it would have been kind of cool to make an add-on for like, hey, here's an extra pack with all the compatible heroes or henchmen. But I can see the downside of that is because I feel like you do another season or another like retail set or something like that, then everyone's going to be like, oh, no, you didn't print off another one of this 1 card, right? Or you have to print off 2 in every feature deck. It's kind of the downside of doing stuff like that. So she only has her 1 threat card. So she doesn't get Bunch. She just has Scourge. Deal 2 damage to each hero in this location. Now she does have 9 in there, so there must be more ways to summon other people. So she has 2 BAM, 5 BAM, and she has 2 copies of Life Force Absorption. So move clockwise to the next location with the most civilians if possible. Discard all summoning from Enchantress location, she gains 1 health. Then she has Hypnosis. Give a crisis token to 1 hero in Enchantress and each adjacent location. So the next villain turn, the hero starting their turn with crisis tokens, discard them, and must choose to either play a card randomly or forfeit 1 action on their turn or take 1 damage. Interesting. So you have some options there. So you have with a 1 movement, a 3 movement, and a 4 movement. And then she has New Blood. Bring the top threat from the henchman deck into play at Chance's location if possible, or the next clockwise location with other threats. So here she can keep bringing them back. And she starts with 5, and she has 4 of these, so that's her total of 9. So she's, when the Scourge is defeated, he'll come back before everybody else. So she has 1 for another 0, a 0 some thugs, and another 0 there. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Very different way to play again. All the different villains, like imagine right there just bringing in like Titania or Absorbing Man. We just saw those 2. Yeah, it's just adding that, or you have like all the Sinister 6 characters, some of the Brotherhood characters mix and match together. Like Kingpin, I think, has like Bullseye and Elektra. Just trying to think of who else has some. Like, so I'm not sure who all they might work with, so like some of the symbiote characters might have other symbiotes, like the Life Force Foundation, like Shriek has those guys. or Scream has those guys. They might work. But I'm not sure if, like, Thanos has, if he has the Black Order, they might specifically reference him. The same thing with Apocalypse and his Horsemen. Bob, Agent of Hydra, has a he's an anti-hero, but he has a bunch of big villains like Red Skull and Doctor Doom and stuff, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so there could be some really neat different things. Now they're going to have different BAM effects, which will always be really cool. So that can make her very challenging or very easy depending on who you pick. You pick a lot of low health guys, high health guys randomly. It's very cool. Alright, let's jump to the next character. Alright, we're going to go for another big bag. We have Gore the God Butcher, you know, from the Hulk movie. Special setup. Set aside the Invasion Begins Master Plan card and place it face up top after shuffling. So this will be one that says Starting Master Plan card. So yeah, we'll see what that does. Threw this around. Alright, so Gore has 4, 5, or 6 health. Special rules. When a hero is KO'd, Gore doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, Gore gains 2 health, can go above starting value, and that hero is removed from the game, discarding any tokens they have on their next turn. The player chooses a different hero and enters play in the hero's starting location. That's kind of fun. So it's kind of neat because it's like, yeah, you get to play as multiple heroes, but it also means you're going to have multiple heroes sitting around ready to go. So it's always one of the things you just got to keep that in mind. So you, we got to stop the game. I got to go dig these out of my box over here. Or if you're traveling, you didn't bring enough extra characters. BAM. Heroes in Gore's location must reveal their hand. Heroes with the highest number of symbols on the bottom of their card take 2 damage. Overflow, if it can't be added, deal 1 damage to 1 hero anywhere. And Villainous Plot. The heroes losing 4 or more heroes have been removed from the game. So it could be each player loses 1, or it could be 1 player is unfortunate and dies 4 times. Or any combination thereof. That's pretty cool. So he's just all about taking everybody out. Fairly simple. He gains health when he does it. Nothing terribly extra special there for him. Let's look at his cool cards. So obviously he's going to look a little bit different than the Christian Bale version. He's got a little bit demonic-y look to him. There's a scar or tattoos on his arm. His big giant sword. It's like attached to his arm. I believe that's the Necro Sword. Let's see if I can get a little bit better, closer up view of him. Yeah. That's going to be a pain to paint. I can tell you that. Although, anytime there's a cloak or a hood, they're kind of annoying. Alright, what does Gore the God Butcher bring? He has some threats, of course. And he has, all 6 of them are the Black Berserkers. So these are going to deal 2 damage to each hero in this location. Each hero here can reveal 1 card from their hand to prevent 1 damage for each attack at the bottom of their card. So this guy's going to come out and do damage to you. You know, nothing extra special. Alright, then we have his BAM card. So he has 2 of that one, which is move clockwise to the next location with heroes who release cards in their hand. And then he's got 2 going the other direction, which are move counterclockwise to the heroes who release cards in their hand. He's got his Necro Sword. Heroes damaged by Gore during this villain's turn treat their special effects blank until the start of their next villain turn. Ooh, so I can shut down some of them guys. And as a 1 movement, we have one with a 4. And then we have Berserker's Invasion. All threats in play move clockwise 1 location and activate their BAM. Then bring back one clear threat into play, the first clockwise location without a threat. We have another one with thugs on the bottom. We have some more generic ones. We have a 5, a 2, a 2, and then we have the starting card, which is Invasion Begins. Each time activates their BAM. Oh boy, so yeah, right off the bat, they're just going to go 2 damage to each hero in this rotation. So if you start on a location with them, they're going to immediately do 2 damage right off the bat too, which is a pain. Alright, then up next, we have another special style villain. These are kind of fun. We're not just getting straightforward guys. So back this up a little bit. Is we are going to have a team of sorts. We have the Cabal, or Iron Patriot. So it's represented by the Iron Patriot miniature, which, if you're not familiar with him, very quick background is, after the Secret Invasion, Norman Osborn defeated the Skrulls, quote unquote defeated the Skrulls, got in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., which he turned to Hammer, got some Iron Man armor, because it was, in the Avengers Tower, he got owned property, became the Iron Patriot, just to try and, I'm America, I'm the champion. So then he was leading the team of, the Dark Avengers and stuff, but here's the Cabal, where he's actually behind the scenes with some of the, part of the Dark Reign storyline stuff, where he's behind the scenes of the big bads of the Marvel Universe, kind of the opposite of the heroes Illuminati. So it says, special setup, choose one Cabal member to be the villain and place their villain threat card on the indicated space on the flip side of this dashboard, villain side up. No threat is placed in the villain's starting location. Place the remaining 5 villain threat cards threat side up in the other locations. So this is interesting how this works. So you have a big blank there for who the villain is. So you have 5 health, no matter what. Special rules. When a hero is KO'd, the villain doesn't activate your ban. Instead, add 1 crisis to this dashboard. Overflow can't be added. 1 crisis to this dashboard. A villainous plot. Heroes lose if at any moment either the villain or any henchman has 5 or more crisis tokens. Either any villain or henchman has any. Okay. So you're adding it to the dashboard, so I'm assuming you're adding it to that villain's card. Interesting. So, let's take a look at his miniature quick. So here we have good old Iron Patriot. Which could have also been an anti-hero, and they could have had a different person in control. And he's standing on I don't know, was that a mine? Not sure what he's supposed to be standing on. Cool. The red, white, and blue armor, though. Alright, so what we have here is we have double-sided cards. So we have this as Iron Patriot can be our leader. So this gives him his BAM effect. And deal 1 damage to each hero in both locations adjacent to Iron Patriots. Or you could play him as one of the henchmen. So as deal 1 damage to each hero in both adjacent locations. If this is dealt with 1 damage, add 1 crisis token to this card. So cool. We're going to look at the rest of the villain side first. We can play as Taskmaster. Deal 1 damage to 1 hero and Taskmaster in each adjacent location equal to the number of attack symbols at the bottom of the last 2 hero cards on a storyline. Loki. If Loki is in a location with 1 or more heroes, add 1 crisis token to the villain dashboard. Loki ignores damage. 1 damage each hero and villain turn. Doctor Doom. Deal 1 damage to 1 hero in Doctor Doom's location, and then deal 1 damage to 1 hero in each location with 1 or more thugs. Namor. Deal 1 damage to 1 hero in Namor's location, then deal 1 damage to 1 hero in each location with 1 or more civilian. And Emma Frost. Add 1 crisis token to the villain dashboard for each location with more than 1 hero, then add 1 crisis token to a henchman in Emma Frost's location. So cool. So you can play as any of these 5 characters as the main leader who's running the Cabal at the time. The other ones are all the henchmen. Or you can flip them over and play together. Now, if you own all the different sets, you'll have all the miniatures for these. So you can use that miniature for whichever character you want as your main character. But if you don't, you'll just use Iron Patriot for each one. That's why they still have his little symbol up there. So let's protect their reverse side. So Taskmaster, that's 5, so they'll have 5 health regardless. Bam, if there's at least one wild in the story symbol at the bottom of the latest 3 cards on the storyline, add 1 crisis to this card. Otherwise, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in this location. Loki's has, if there's at least 1 hero in this or adjacent location, add 1 crisis token to this card. Otherwise, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in the opposing location. Dr. Doom. There are at least 2 thugs in this or adjacent location. Add 1 crisis token to this card. Otherwise, add 1 thug to this location. Namor. There are at least 2 civilians in this or adjacent location. Add 1 crisis. Otherwise, add 1 civilian to this location. And Emma Frost. There's at least 1 location with more than 1 hero. Add 1 crisis token to this card. Otherwise, the earliest hero in the card started on his turn face down. They're cool. Also worth noting, playing with Enchantress there. This just gave you 5 more henchmen to use, right? Although they'll can gain crisis tokens, which won't mean anything in that version of the game. At least it does do something, right? They'll do some other effect. Alright, so then we have their regular movement. So for whoever is in charge, they have a 0 movement, a 1, a 1, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 4, a 5, and a 5. So a lot of normal ones here. And then they have the Cabal Secret Deals. So 0 move. Add 1 crisis token to the henchman to fuse crisis tokens. And then they have another one for 3. Yeah, so very interesting. Like a little bit different gameplay, how you can do that. Kind of neat way to get to play as different villains as well. Very, very interesting. Alright, so we've done Hulk villains. We've done some Iron Man villain here, I guess. Avenger villains, Thor villains. Let's do some Spider-Man villains. We haven't gotten to too many of them. So we're going to jump in with Kirk Connors, the Lizard. I don't know if he could have ever been classified as an anti-hero. I could see it, but not so much. Also, he's another character that we can add into the Secret Wars set. Special set. Replace the Clear Threats mission with the Find the Cure mission. Place 1 sewer token between each location. The Lizard starts on the first sewer token, going clockwise from the villain's starting location. Keep the threat tokens in a side pool. And then it says, you're playing as a supervillain. Supervillain cards that target the villain's location. Superhero cards that trigger the villain's location. Instead, consider 2 locations adjacent to the Lizard's sewers. So he's going to get these sewer tokens. He gets 6 of them, 1 for each spot in between the locations. And he starts off, well, he has no health. Interesting. Special rules. Heroes do not damage Lizard. When moving Lizard, ignore locations. He only moves on sewer tokens. Add 1 thug civilian to locations adjacent to his sewer location. Place 1 threat token on the Find the Cure mission. Heroes must spend 2 heroes in location with no thugs. When a hero is KO'd, Lizard doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, draw the master plan and add it face down to the story. BAM! Deal 1 damage to a hero in each location adjacent to the sewer where the Lizard is. So he's hiding from you. This is kind of fun. Overflow, if you can't add any, draw a master plan card at face down to the storyline. And heroic goal. The heroes win if all 3 missions have been completed and there are heroes in both locations adjacent to the sewer token where the Lizard is. In Commander Solo, the hero wins if all 3 missions have been completed in their location adjacent to the sewer. Interesting. So now you have to defeat the rescue thugs and defeat thugs, rescue civilians. You gotta find the cure. Cool. Let's take a look at his miniature first, then we'll look at the rest of his deck. But then you also have to get your guys adjacent to the location, so you might get there and then he might move. This is a really neat looking miniature though. He's standing up on his tail. Come on. Here we go. It's a lab coat. Pretty cool detail on this one. And I like anytime they can do stuff for the good action poses. It's a good action pose. Alright, so what does his deck do? So first of all, we have Find the Cure. So we'll replace that. So we have, just has 6 threats on there. So it basically just replaces that for the most part. But it says to place a token and find heroes must spend double heroes in a location with no thugs. So a little bit harder. You have to defeat all the thugs first, and then you have to play 2 heroic. Alright, so then he has some threat cards. So he has 6 threats, which are all danger, alligators. I kind of thought danger and having alligators after it meant there would be like other dangers, but they're all that. This threat can't be cleared or removed by any means in play. Bam, deal damage amongst the heroes in location and the number of thugs here. So basically, his thugs are essentially alligators all around the board. You need to defeat them, and then you can start trying to figure out the cure. So he's just summoning alligators all across the board. Which is kind of fun. Alright, then he'll have his cards. So his will like this. So like move to the next sewer and then place the tokens there. So he has a 0, a 1, a 1, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. Then he has some 3s. He has 2 copies of On the Run. If Blizzard is not under pressure, remove 1 threat from the Find the Cure mission if possible. If Blizzard is under pressure, draw a master plan based on to the storyline. And then he has 2 copies of Surprise Attack. If Blizzard is not under pressure, accelerate the villain's turn by 1. If he is, draw a master plan, place it face down. So he's just going to keep accelerating that master plan to try and complete whatever his objective is, I guess. Getting away, escaping. It's very interesting. Alright. Next up on our Spider-Man road trip, we have the Shocker. Herman is his name Herman Schultz? I might be wrong, but why is that the name in my head? I don't remember all the Spider-Man villains as well. Shockers are really fun. I think the last guy added to the Kickstarter. It's cool because we have lots of the other classic Spidey villains. Special set. Keep Shocker's achievements card and the stun tokens within reach of the player. So we flip them over. He has 4, 5, or 6 health. Special rules. Shocker can't be assigned stun tokens. Heroes starting their turn with any stun tokens treat special effects on their hero cards as blank until the end of their turn. Then they discard all their stun tokens. When a hero's daily Shocker doesn't activate his BAM, instead draw a master plan and add it face down to the story. BAM! Assign 1 stun token. Deal 1 damage to each hero in adjacent locations adjacent to Shockers. Overflow. If they can't be added, draw a master plan, add it face down the storyline, and villainous plot. The hero's loser Shocker fulfills all his achievements. There are 4 crisis tokens on his achievement card. Interesting. So he has a achievement card he's trying to do. So he's trying to achieve his goals. And here's Shocker. Any fans of the old Spidey cartoon will Shocker. Remember that line from Spidey. He's got a little like padded outfit there. He's got a Shocker gauntlets. It's always one of my like maybe more favorite like early villains, like earlier like 90s villains. Just because he was different, right? It's just kind of a common criminal. Alright, so he has the achievements card. It says, the first time Shocker fulfills each of the achievements, place 1 crisis token on a corresponding slot in the front of this card. Crisis tokens cannot be removed by any means. So he has KO any hero, overflow in a location, end a villain turn in a location with no heroes and no threats, or take more than 2 damage in a single turn without being defeated, or eliminate an equipment or stun a hero twice during the game. Cool. So he's got little extra things. It's kind of almost is kind of neat because like this seems like a card like it could have just been almost like a challenge card that you could have added to any villain and been like, here's an alternate thing that they're trying to do and it might make some guys a little bit easier to beat because like or harder to beat because all of a sudden now it's like they have their thing they're also doing, but then they might have this, or it could have been override whatever else they're trying to do, and maybe this is what they're trying to do, right? Except the bottom one would be the only hard one because you can't guarantee they'd be able to stun or eliminate equipment. Every character might not have an ability to do that. But yeah, that could have been, almost could have been a neat card that could have been added to anything. So for his threats, we have 2 copies of minions. Add 1 thug to each adjacent location. We have 2 copies of ambush. Deal 1 damage to a hero's location. If there are no heroes here, deal 1 damage to a hero in adjacent location. And 2 copies of the escape plan. Till the next villain turn, the first time a hero enters Shocker's location, move Shocker clockwise to the location with the next location with no heroes. It's kind of cool. So he gets away from you. Alright, then we have a 0 movement, a 0 movement, a 1 just with different placements on the bottoms, another 1, some 2s, and these be very straightforward, 4s, some 5s, and its last 2, which are the same. We have Underestimated Thief, move clockwise the next location with the hero if possible. The hero in Shocker's location of any equipment cards, remove 1 of these cards from the game. So that's how he gets rid of those. Otherwise, yeah, he places... How does he add stun tokens? Oh, this is BAM effect. Okay, BAM effect adds 1 stun token. Okay, I guess I missed that. Alright, I grabbed the wrong villain. Who's up next? We have more Spidey villains. So we have 2 more villains for this video. Alright, so let's see if we can get this done. We have the Chameleon, who's, I can't even fathom to remember what his real name is. Keep, special set, keep the 8, find the Chameleon tokens, set aside face down within reach of the player, alternately place them into a bag. And I'll grab those in just a second. We'll look at those. Let's see what he does first. Says 4, 4, and 4 for health. Special, once 2 missions have been completed, when a hero is trying to damage Chameleon, first shuffle all the Find the Chameleon tokens, then reveal 1 token, plus 1 for each empty thug or civilian slot in Chameleon's location. If one of the revealed tokens shows Chameleon, he can't be damaged for the rest of the turn. Otherwise, he can't be damaged until the end of the turn. So there's 1, and then every time basically there's another guy, it's going to add confusion in there. Plus 1 for each empty slot in his location. So the more you have, the better you have of finding him, is the idea. Because there's 8 tokens, so if you have, for example, the location has 5 empty slots, you get to draw 6 of the 8 tokens. So you have a better chance of finding him there. If you're only grabbing, granted you said it's still a 1 in 6 chance of finding him out of them, but it's giving you a chance of those 6. You're revealing all 6 of those. If you have 1 token, plus 1, so you're revealing 6 of those 8 tokens. You have a good chance of finding them out of them. But again, if you only reveal 1 token, you're only revealing 1 of the 8. If there's at least 1 hero in Chameleon's location, accelerate the next villain turn by 1 in Overflow. Bring back 1 random cleared threat clockwise, first clockwise location with no threat if possible. Draw a master plan card and add it face down to the storyline. Cool. So yeah, for him, we're going to get these 8 question mark hex tokens. And if we flip to the back side, they're going to have just purple civilians on there, except 1 will have his face. And then you keep shuffling them back in there. So the more you can reveal, the better. So if you're playing locations with more open spots, you have a better chance of being able to clear them and finding him. Versus a location that has like 3 slots, right? That most you're only going to just draw 4 tokens. But if you have one that has 6, then you can maybe draw up to 7. So locations are going to change the game up as well, which is very interesting. All right, let's look at his deck. All right, so there he is in his robe, disrobing his mask. He's got like a regular person face. Down at the bottom here, we do have some other masks. We have an Ace. It's probably Captain America mask. It's like a Green Goblin mask. Might be Cyclops there. Just a regular face. I'm gonna guess it's probably maybe like Peter Parker mask, the Doc Ock mask. Not sure who that one there is supposed to be. And he's standing on somebody else's face. I don't think they really show it in any of these pictures. Unfortunately, you probably have to go to like the main page and look at it, the Kickstarter page, see if they show them off a little bit better. All right, what are his threats? He has 3 copies of Master of Disguise. If chameleons attack in this location, reveal 1 fewer find the chameleon tokens. Once threat is cleared, remove 1 blank find the chameleon token from the pool. So that's kind of cool. So you can get rid of up to 3 of them. But he can potentially bring these back. And he has 3 Master Steamer cards. If this location overflows and there are no heroes here, resolve the overflow effect twice. Which again lets you add a random threat back in, and if there are too many, then you add in the master plan cards. Alright, then for his deck, we have a 1, a 5, a 2, a different 2, a 4, a different 4, a 3, a different 3, and then he has one with thugs and one with civilians. Says move clockwise to the next location with the most thug civilians overall. And then he has finally 1,000 faces. Add 1 civilian to every location. Because yeah, of course he wants to keep adding these guys in there. Or going to the location with the most guys, because then he has harder time of revealing them. So it's kind of a fun, different challenge. Like, he's not like a giant threat. He's not doing a ton of damage to you. But you're running the clock of trying to be able to do damage. Now, they do mention in the rule book, or pamphlet here for him, so kind of just mentions, like, hero using 1 attack against chameleon location with 2 empty slots, shuffle the 8 tokens, and then reveal 3. 1 number for the emptiest slots, 1 for him, plus 1 for the number of empty slots. If one of the tokens reveals chameleon space, here's some damage to chameleon for the rest of the turn, dealing them the 1 hit they just used plus any other available used this turn. But it does say if a hero tries his effects such as attack 3 times against a single target in a location, they reveal in chameleon space, and they can deal those 3 damage to him. Otherwise, he can't be damaged because in your turn all 3 are wasted. So yeah, you reveal at least 1 attack damage to reveal the tokens. Then if you hit them, all that damage can be applied. But if you miss, all of it's wasted. So yeah, using giant ones, like if you can reveal 5 or 6 tokens, that might be worth gambling. But if you can only reveal like 2, it might not be worth using a big giant attack. It's very interesting. Alright, last villain for the part 2 video, we're going to look at Hobgoblin. So we've got a Green Goblin, and we having the maximum card set, we have Hobgoblin, or Demogoblin. So now we're at Hobgoblins. So we have our 3 goblins. No extra special starting up effects. Flip them over to Jason. It's just commonly it's Jason Mackendale. But there was one other person that also was this role as well. He's a couple of different people. 3 health. Special, the first time Hobgoblin will be defeated, he immediately gains 2 health plus 1 health for each threat in play. Then he moves to the opposite location. A hero is tailed, Hobgoblin doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, draw a Master Plan and add it face down to start. So he has a Resurrect ability. Cool. BAM, deal 1 damage to each hero in both locations adjacent to Hobgoblins. Overflow. Bring back 1 random cleared threat from the first clockwise location without a threat. If not possible, deal 1 damage to 1 hero anywhere. So very straightforward so far. Nothing special. Just, if he gets tailed, he's going to add to his Master Plan. He gets tailed, he's going to come back. So it'll be up to 5 potentially higher health. But it only happens once. Otherwise, yeah, he's just trying to damage guys. Pretty simple. Alright. And then what does he do for, what does his miniature look like? I thought he had more of like a tan face versus a green face. Come on, focus up. There we go. Yeah, he's on his goblin glider. His hobgoblin glider. And you got like a tacky pumpkin bomb there. Should be interesting to paint. He's got a finger blast. Can't really say it here, it just looks like he's pointing like, I'm going to go get you. What that looks like. Alright. So he has some threat cards, of course. 2 copies of misleading information. Heroes starting their turn at this location must forfeit 1 available heroic action. 2 copies of Pumpkin Bomb Trap. Heroes taking damage in this location, taking additional damage. And 2 copies of Diversion. Heroes starting this turn must forfeit 1 attack action available. Interesting. So it's just going to make it harder to damage him. We have a 0, a 1, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 4, a 5, a move to the location opposite of the hero that will play next. He's got a second one of them. And he's got Criminal Power Rising. If Hobgoblin is not under pressure, each hero in a location with 1 or more thugs must either discard 1 action card or take 1 damage. If Hobgoblin is under pressure, draw and play an additional Master Plan card. And then Unaware Pawns. If Hobgoblin is under pressure, location with 1 or more civilians must either discard 1 action or take 1 damage. If Hobgoblin is under pressure, draw an additional Master Plan card. Cool. So yeah, he's just going to kind of push his Master Plan forward. Otherwise, he's just going to be damaging heroes. Yeah, eventually get rid of 2 missions to attack him. You defeat him, he comes back, so you got to defeat him twice. At 3 and 5 plus health. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. But like I've said before in other videos, there's nothing wrong with having some of the simpler villains. You don't necessarily want to have every villain have some weird special scheme and have to keep track of this and that. Sometimes you just want to play against a simple, straightforward, damaging guy versus this. Same thing with like Abomination was like that at the very beginning. So it's kind of a interesting going back and forth. Yeah, sometimes that's all you want to do. You just want to be able to just fight guys without having to like deal with stuff, so you can play out some of your characters. So that's pretty cool. Alright, that's what we have for part 2. Come back for villain part 3, and then we'll have, it's actually a lot of anti-hero villains. We'll get a little sneak peek at some of the heroes for coming up videos later. As well as check out all the other multiverse videos. Hit me up in the comments. See you guys later. Bye.